We're joined now by the host and moderator of NBC's Meet the Press, Chuck Todd. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Happy to be here.
So let's get right to it. Will these objections, if anything, change the election results?
No, they won't change any of the election results. It really is more of a, I don't know how else to put this, but it really is, it is everything tomorrow is going to be symbolic. The objections that are being raised, it appears that some of the senators are claiming they don't want to overturn the election. They simply want to level an objection. Well, of course, the president does want to overturn the election. So everything is performance art tomorrow. I don't know how other way to put it, but it's performance art by a handful of particularly on the Senate side, of Republicans, some of whom have ambition to run for president themselves in 2024, some of whom are worried about keeping in the good graces of the Trump base and of President Trump himself if he is going to wield this kind of power over the party. So that's what we're going to see tomorrow, but it could be an extraordinarily long day that could go past midnight, believe it or not.
Oh, we're definitely watching. Well, there is this shift within the GOP party. So, and this move is somewhat of an open rejection to Republican leadership in the Senate. So what impact is this going to have on the party, both short-term and long-term?
Well, look, you introduced this segment by noting the two senators in the Kansas City area, right? One from Kansas, one from Missouri, who signed on. Well, there's two other Republicans, one from Missouri and one from Kansas, who are not going to sign on to this. So you are living in that, in the Kansas City viewing area, you are seeing the divide in real time, right there in Kansas. The newly elected senator, Roger Marshall, in some ways believes without Donald Trump he doesn't win. Jerry Moran has been there a long time, sort of sees this obviously a bit differently, and I think has less of a political pressure. He's also someone that's a lot closer to leadership, Mitch McConnell. Roy Blunt in Missouri, same thing. He is much closer to leadership. So you really are seeing a divide in the party between, some could call it an old guard, an establishment guard, you know, sort of the Republicans of the pre-Trump era, and this sort of new populist wing of the party that right now defines itself mostly on loyalty to Donald Trump.
So what dangers do these moves create in terms of the confidence in the electoral process and going forward? You said most of this is theater, but will there be some long-lasting damage?
Yeah. And see, that's the problem. I'm telling you it's theater. You'll be able to, we're reporting that this is theater. We know the outcome, what it was. We know the outcome isn't going to change. But there are a lot of people that are believing what the president is telling them, or believing what some of these handful of senators who want to object is telling them. They believe there's fraud. They believe, you know, and so it really is, you know, this has been very frustrating to watch. Essentially, the president created a straw man that tried to explain why he lost, and eventually his supporters believed his straw man argument. And now we have this wildfire where you have 40% of the country approximately doesn't believe the results of this election. That's a real problem. That we've already been talking about fraying institutions, distrust, right? Distrust in Congress, distrust in politicians, distrust in what you and I do for a living here in the media. This is only going to fuel more of that. So it is, look, it's eroding the democracy, pure and simple. And the question is, we've survived these stress tests over the last 5 years, but think of it as, you know, if you take a rubber band and you keep stretching it, you keep stretching it, eventually it's going to snap. One of these moments, and you're like, well, maybe the Constitution isn't going to hold up.
We certainly hope
that rubber band moment.
We certainly hope that won't be the case.
That's the fear of what these moments are like. Yeah.
We are watching it very, very closely.
Yeah,
Chuck Todd, thank you so much for joining us live this afternoon. And a reminder, you can catch him live on Meet the Press every Sunday morning. We'll also have much more on nightly news coming up tonight at 5:30. But again, thanks, Chuck, for joining us.